Hello, UDC. I'm happy to speak at UDC about 1inch and DeFi, and so I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. By way of introduction, my name is Samuel Yim. I'm the Chief Business Development Officer at the 1inch Network. Today, I'll be discussing with you about the future of DeFi and Korea's place in DeFi, which is an important topic. Before I start, I want to explain to you why we're called 1inch. I get 1inch. We get this question a lot, and so I thought it would be appropriate for us to discuss this briefly. So 1inch is actually named after Bruce Lee's 1inch punch. So if you're a fan of Bruce Lee, he's famous for using the 1inch punch in 1967. Our co-founder, pictured on the right, he is a huge fan of Bruce Lee and grew up watching his movies. I am too a big fan of Bruce Lee, which attracted me to 1inch. So 1inch actually represents the principles of 1inch products. It stands for fast, efficient, and powerful, just like Bruce Lee's 1inch punch. So in the next slides, I'll cover what 1inch is and why this topic of DeFi matters. 1inch is the leading DEX aggregator in the world. We have, on average, about 65% to 70% of the market share in DEX aggregation. There are dozens of competitors out there, but they are all less than 10% of the market. To oversimplify, 1inch is like the Google of blockchain. Like Google, we have our own proprietary algorithm called Pathfinder, which allows us to search for the best prices to trade in the DeFi space between tokens. Another analogy is similar to travel websites like Agoda, Expedia, or Travelocity. If a customer wants to buy a plane ticket to New York from Korea, a user goes on these travel websites and look for the best prices from various airlines. We do something similar. If a user has USDC and wants to trade for Ether at the cheapest price, you go to 1inch and find the best prices from various liquidity sources. The user can compare the prices like the travel agencies and purchase ETH with USDC through a peer-to-peer transaction. In short, 1inch functions in a similar and hybrid way of Google and travel websites. We are in a special moment in history. We are undergoing a paradigm shift in finance and technology, and this is very exciting. Like the dot-com days in the early 2000s, when the world transitioned to the internet, we are now witnessing a transformation in finance, from a centralized financial system to a decentralized financial system. So what does DeFi mean? It stands for decentralized finance, and it's basically finance without intermediaries to make things simple to understand. So you can do transactions without an intermediary. You can get a crypto loan without a centralized intermediary. You'll be able to pretty much do everything in finance without intermediaries. This is the potential and promise of DeFi. Korea has been a leader in tech innovation since the 1990s. This is why this topic matters. Korea is a leader in the world in internet infrastructure, electronics, microchips, semiconductor, and the list goes on. Korea is also a leader in crypto adoption. Korea's trading volume in centralized exchanges sometimes actually exceed the entire United States. This small country has one of the highest crypto adoption rates per capita. Koreans trade per capita the most crypto in the world, and Koreans should be proud of this. It shows that Korea is adopting to new technology at a faster pace than the rest of the world. Yet, however, Korea lags very much behind DeFi in this world. Our hope is that Koreans will become a leader in DeFi, as this will be a fundamental part of our technological future to help the Korean economy become the leader in Web3. If Korea adopts the new technology in DeFi, this will create new jobs and help grow Korea's economy in the future. My hope is for Korea to become the New York City of DeFi and become the DeFi capital in the world. The next slide, I will discuss the future of DeFi, especially about what the market drivers are and DeFi's features. As you can see in this slide, there is a push by traditional institutions to adopt crypto in the real-world financial system. On the left, you'll see major traditional financial institutions pushing to launch a Bitcoin or ETH, Ether ETF to be sold on traditional stock exchanges. On the right, there's a strong push for institutions to tokenize real-world assets such as real estate, art, stocks, and the list goes on. But this is only the beginning. Société Générale, France's #3 bank, has become involved in DeFi. Ondo Finance, a crypto trading platform, bought out a tokenized version of BlackRock's Treasuries ETF. JP Morgan Chase's Onyx project has also been experimenting with DeFi trades. Centralized exchanges like Binance and OKX have developed their own DeFi wallets. On the left, you'll be able to see the wide array of DeFi products available, such as lending, staking, and there are more to be developed in the future. With the advent of many centralized blockchain companies failing, notably FTX, Celsius, BlockFi, users are looking for self-custody solutions like 1inch for crypto trades. On the right, you will see a growing trend of DeFi taking away market share of centralized exchanges. We expect this to continue as more users get comfortable with DeFi. However, we believe that DeFi platforms like 1inch and centralized exchanges will coexist. You need both. There's a preference for users for custody services and self-custody services, and centralized exchanges can provide that. More importantly, centralized exchanges provide a fiat on and off ramp, which DeFi does not do at this moment, at least at 1inch. So we see a future of coexisting between centralized exchanges and DeFi platforms. From a technology perspective, the migration of centralized exchanges to DeFi, I think, is inevitable. It will continue to grow, and this is the logical path of the future. So we see a more balancing between centralized exchanges and DeFi platforms in terms of user growth, volume, and trading. In this slide, you can see that DeFi is only at its infant stages. When compared to the traditional finance market and the centralized crypto market, DeFi represents only that small red dot you see in the center. Remember, DeFi really started only 2 years ago with what they call nominally as DeFi summer. We expect DeFi to grow and steadily take away market share away from traditional financial institutions and centralized crypto market. And we think there's going to be some sort of a balance between all three. They will all coexist. But in terms of DeFi, this is really only the beginning. 1inch, as mentioned earlier, is a leading DEX aggregator in the industry with 65 to 70% market share. Again, 1inch is like the Google of DeFi, and 1inch's market strength is powered by its proprietary algorithm called Pathfinder. One of the main points for centralized users to adopt DeFi trades is gas cost. This is a huge pain point. You have to pay gas fees to do trades on DeFi. 1inch provides a solution for DeFi users to trade without paying for gas fees. This is 1inch product called Fusion. For example, if a user only has USDC but wants to trade for 1inch tokens, but has no Ether or gas to trade on the Ethereum network, the user can go on Fusion mode on 1inch and conduct a trade without any Ether and not pay any gas. 1inch is also a leading DeFi wallet for self-custody. Self-custody is that no third party has access to your wallet, even 1inch. You can control your private keys similar to a password, and therefore you fully control your own crypto. 1inch is also working on its own unique account abstraction tools in case you lose your private keys, otherwise known as your password, but more to come in the future. Finally, one of the biggest challenges to institutional adoption in blockchain space is KYC and with AML monitoring so that institutions can trade in a regulated environment. As you can see, 1inch is the leader in DeFi, and we are the tip of the spear in DeFi technological advancement. 1inch has been and continues to shape the DeFi industry. We'll move on to discuss Korea's place in the DeFi space. In Korea, many businesses have already adopted 1inch API for swaps. These Korean companies already created a DeFi wallet and pushing hard to grow the DeFi market in Korea and also the rest of the world. We see more adoption growing, and many leading businesses in Korea, including major Korean conglomerates, are interested in integrating our API to grow their DeFi business. 1inch in Korea is pretty much a B2B business. We do not have retail users in Korea. So if anybody's interested, as a business, we could help integrate Swap API to their businesses. This chart represents the relative transaction volume by platform types like centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and other trading platforms. The blue represents centralized exchange trading volume, and the green represents DeFi trading volume. As you can see, Korea is on the left, and it lags behind the global average by 18%. This is a huge gap. On the other hand, it represents opportunities for Korea for growth and dominate the DeFi market. Korea's trading volume, crypto trading volume, as of now, as of last year, is 110 billion, and that's a staggering amount for such a small country. DeFi adoption is inevitable, and Korea should strive to become a leader in DeFi. In the early stages of Amazon, they only sold books online. The skeptics stated that people will never buy books online. The skeptics continue to say that consumers want to touch and open a book and read a few pages before buying a book. And you can't do that over the internet. So many predicted that Amazon will fail. They continue to say that people like the experience of going to bookstores like Barnes and Nobles and Borders. In Korea, it would be Kyobo bookstores. When I was growing up, also, going to a bank was a real-world experience. I went to my bank with my passbook and met with the teller to withdraw and deposit money. However, for my children, it's a different experience. They have never been inside a traditional bank. To them, a bank is nothing more than an app on their iPhone. So we see these technological shifts. There's a lot of skeptics out there that would say, hey, DeFi will fail, but we think that is technologically inevitable for DeFi to grow. There's no turning back. In order for you to stop DeFi, you have to shut down the internet. So going back to my earlier analogy about Amazon, the skeptics were not ready to adopt to the new technology. And therefore, Amazon won and Barnes and Nobles and Borders failed. And so this is a good reminder. Next, I'll talk about 1inch's proposition. As I mentioned, here are the key trends in DeFi. It's DEX aggregators, gasless transactions, Web3 wallets, and 1inch has a whole product suite that attends to the needs of DeFi, such as its classic DEX aggregator, which is the search engine of blockchain, 1inch Fusion, which is the gasless transactions you do on DeFi. It's Dev Portal, where allow developers to develop solutions on DeFi using Dev Portal, and 1inch is its own DeFi wallet. So how does a DEX aggregator work? So DEX aggregator is not a new trend, but they're still relevant. They solve the problem of unfavorable swap rates due to lack of liquidity in single DEXs, such as PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, or Uniswap. If you want to make a swap via DEX aggregator, such as 1inch, your transaction splits upon multiple DEXs using liquidity from multiple pools, optimizing network fees and providing you with the best possible swap rates, no matter what the size of your trade is. 1inch introduced the concept of the first DEX aggregator in 2019. And since we provide users with the best swap rates in the market, we support 11 chains integrated in major wallets such as MetaMask. We are the biggest project in DeFi by user base for DeFi swaps and hold 70% market share among DEX aggregators. As I mentioned earlier before about 1inch Fusion, it's a major upgrade of our network that we launched last Christmas. 1inch Fusion tries to overcome all of the DeFi limitations that I mentioned earlier. We know at least two models of decentralization that have been popular so far: an order book, when buyers and sellers trade directly with each other, and AMM, which is the automatic market maker, a concept proposed by Uniswap, when traders trade with the liquidity pool. Fusion is a new model where traders trade with resolvers or professional market makers who cover users' gas fees and protect them from MEV attacks, ensuring best market rates while profiting on arbitrage. Thanks to arbitrage, they use not only liquidity from liquidity pools, but also from centralized exchanges, private market makers, and of course, their own liquidity. And this is why I said that in the future of DeFi, centralized exchanges and DeFi protocols will coexist. Preset parameters such as time and price allow to maximize trading efficiency and sometimes get the better rate than one you can see in the market. I'll talk a little bit about Dev Portal. The main goal is to give developers fast and efficient software solutions for creating new Web3 products. We basically offer developers a set of Web3 building blocks which allow them to substantially save on time, money, and labor. All these solutions have been thoroughly tested in 1inch since 2019. 1inch Develop Portal has been launched and is ready to go. For the next few months, developers will be able to test various functionalities of the available software solutions. So why should you join 1inch Develop Portal? Well, first, there's proven solutions. Solutions offered in the platform have been successfully tested on 1inch's products such as 1inch Wallet and 1inch DApp. Reliability is the second important thing. Among projects that have already integrated 1inch's API are top players in the Web3 space such as MetaMask, Trust Wallet, and Ledger. Also, high availability. The 1inch Developer Development Portal offers an uptime of SLA of 99%. Low latency is another important factor. 1inch API offers users a very short response time, the best in the market. Well-organized data is another factor. High-quality, reliable data is organized and easy to use on dashboards. Most importantly, deep liquidity. High-quality, reliable data is, 1inch Swap API facilitates access to numerous liquidity sources on multiple blockchains, and we have the deepest liquidity in the DeFi space. Let me talk a little bit about the Web3 wallet. We see the Web3 wallet as a key entry point for DeFi, for retail users. To make sense of what a function of a Web3 wallet, think of DeFi wallet as a Web3 version of a Web2 browser and 1inch as a Web3 search engine. When compared to Google, the Web3 wallet is the Google Chrome browser and 1inch is a Google search engine. You need both the browser and the search engine to navigate the Web2 world. And that's what 1inch provides. It provides a native Web3 wallet with 1inch DEX aggregate to navigate the blockchain. So the 1inch Web3 wallet provides both the browser and the search engine for users to swap and search on the blockchain. So I'm just going to go into my conclusion. Going forward, I think we need to keep building, especially Korea. From a regulatory perspective, and also what's the totality of circumstances of all the environment, of all the factors that you see, key factors trying to all making progress. DeFi will be an important part of our future, financial future. As I stated before, it's technologically inevitable, and history has shown that. An example I showed you earlier is Amazon. With the advent of the internet and e-commerce, it was inevitable and for Amazon to succeed. And for those bookstore companies like Barnes and Nobles and Borders who did not fail to adopt, the companies withered away. And so it's imperative for us to build the future, get ready for this, and adopt to the new technology. Otherwise, we'll be ending up like Barnes and Nobles and Borders. South Korea in particular is poised for significant growth in dominating the DeFi space. As I mentioned before, it has one of the highest adoption rates in crypto and strong internet infrastructure. And Koreans quickly adopt a new technology. And most importantly, for the future of Korean's economy, it's important for Koreans to adopt and become a leader in the Web3 space. So on behalf of 1inch, we ask Korea and Koreans to join 1inch in the DeFi journey. Thank you very much for your time. And we hope you have a great time for the rest of the EDC week. If you have any questions, you can reach us here. This is our, our 1inch contact points. And so please reach out to us. And we look forward to partnering with any businesses in the future. And we look forward to working together in this journey in DeFi. Thank you again. Have a great rest of the day.